Alrighty. We've been talking about, so in our personal alchemy,
Okay.
we were talking about in our personal alchemy, I'm going to pin myself just for, okay. Is this clarity? What is the nutrition assessment? So what's the element of clarity is phosphorus, and Bernard Jensen has in the chemistry of man has some great descriptors of phosphorus. And one of them is where your attention goes, phosphorus goes, is the quote from Jensen. So if you're if you have a lot of muscles and you're using your muscles a lot, then phosphorus is going into the muscles to make them bigger. If you're a thinker, the phosphorus goes into your head, and then people that think a lot generally have bigger heads than those who don't because of the phosphorus. If you're sexually oriented, the phosphorus goes down into your pelvis and you have more energy down there. Spirit, the phosphorus is going to go into your heart, open that. And oxygen is always associated with phosphorus. So in terms of clarity, phosphorus is a major element of clarity in the body, and it's involved in lecithin, which is, sort of fat emulsification and cell membrane function, think. So again, the brain of the cell is the membrane, and phosphorus helps alter membrane fluidity. Lecithin, oh my God, it's all connected. The other two are minerals and B vitamins. So our awareness has got to have the right form of phosphorus with a calcium balance, of course, and then B vitamins and minerals. And if we don't get that, our nervous system falls apart. And raw fat, of course, too. So question about that, since we're kind of going into it.
So awareness needs phosphorus and B vitamin.
Phosphorus goes where our attention goes. So if we think about our left eyeball, then phosphorus is going to go to our left eyeball. If we think about sex a lot, then it's going to go down to our pelvis. According to, this is Jensen's claim in the chemistry of man. I'm not even saying I necessarily believe it, but it kind of like resonates, like, yeah, that resonates. Can I prove it? I don't have a study yet, so no. We can't prove this, right?
It makes so much sense if we're exercising, when I'm exercising, if I focus on a particular muscle, I can make that muscle do more of the work. If I'm just thinking about that muscle and awareness of it. So that makes perfect sense that you could do that with nutrients.
So
I've heard that said before.
The Yogananda energization exercises, that's exactly what it is. You're inhaling, clenching a muscle group, exhaling a double breath. So it's bringing attention into every body part. By the time you're done with the 36 movements, I have a 3-part YouTube video sequence on this that's so important. I do it a lot because if I'm sitting at a desk and I got 10 minutes, I'll go outside and do the movements, which is Tai Chi Qigong movements basically. And then it's like, wow, I just got my attention in every part of my body in 10 minutes. You shall be full of light. Isn't that one of the lines from Matthew, Mark, John, and Luke? Thou shalt be full of light. Exactly what they're talking about right there.
Nice.
I've heard it said that I actually have a quote in my book that says this, but as a takeoff on Jensen, where thought goes, energy flows. So I totally understand that. Yeah.
Very well put. So we're going to go into the nutrition assessment PowerPoint now. And if Dean, if you want to break out your vitamin news book, we're probably not going to get through that today, but I hope to get through some of it.
Actually, I still got to order that, but yes, I'll still about ordering that today.
It's a worthy one. So this is I don't know how many slides are on here. Yeah, 34 slides for nutrition assessment. I don't know. You guys are gonna have a lot of questions. So the assessment master folder link via Isabel, this is a clickable link right here. You can see where the little hand comes up. So that is a clickable link to get access. I really trying to make it easy for you guys to get access to this information. So thank you for all your requests. It's helpful. So can you guys see that transparency?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay, that works. Okay, why is this under nutrition assessment? Why is a bunch of men? This is a men's gathering and they're all beating the drums and singing. And why do I have this under nutrition assessment, you think?
Well, lots of what we just said. Go ahead, Isabel.
There's a bunch of testosterone sitting right there.
And a better chance of accessing the phosphorus into their needs because they're doing something so basically needed by all of us. And we need to be in community making music, and men doing drumming is one of the highlights that men can hit. It's just so basic. It's wonderful.
This was
Wonderful.
Daniel Molnar's event. I was in men's group with Daniel Molnar for a long time, and he's sort of a dance guy. So this was all men's event at the Pacific Cultural Center before COVID, 4 or 5 years
Yeah.
ago. It was one of the best male events I've ever been to. He did such a great job.
Mm.
So male testosterone is made of what?
Oh.
Cholesterol.
Cholesterol, very good. And what's cholesterol made out of? Got to go down another layer.
Mm,
What's cholesterol made out of? See?
Phospholipids.
You can go general. So cholesterol is made out of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and mainly,
Carbon, hydrogen. Yeah. Okay.
and it's a sponge for oxidants. So cholesterol sponges up free radicals. That's one of its functions.
Ah.
Testosterone creates free radicals, ironically. It can.
So if it sponges up free radicals, does it transform them into cholesterol?
Think of like there's this duality of free fatty acids that Carl and I and Michael are farting around with from. So free fatty acids are like oxidation, and cholesterol, it's another name for a fatty acid. I forget what Brivici called it. So if you have free fatty acids, the body makes the sponge to the duality to offset it, right?
Mm.
So it's an offsetting force to oxidation, antioxidant. That's what. So cholesterol is a backup antioxidant. So if you aren't getting enough vitamin C and vitamin E's and antioxidants in your diet naturally, then you'll see your cholesterol elevate. Hint, hint.
Mm.
Hint, hint.
So vitamin E.
Vitamin E is involved. There's 2 forms of vitamin E. One form is involved in our sexuality, and another form is involved in DNA repair. Quite a fascinating vitamin. We're going to go into that today a little bit.
Mm. Okay. Wow.
So one of my favorite slides of all time, because it's like I see the human and health as a jigsaw puzzle, and we're examining individual pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, it's like it's like an Escher. It's like, wow, that's a pretty cool image there. So the main question I've had for years is, what about vitamin assessment questionnaires? You guys ever seen a good vitamin assessment questionnaire ever? I haven't.
Nope.
No, we talked about that in last class, I think.
Okay, good. So Chronometer is the best tool I found for somebody off the street. They're using USDA data, granted, but it has even standard process supplements in it. Very updated. Chronometer is a good manual for nutrition assessment, for personal nutrition assessment. And so that's why we're going through this today. It's going to show us some things. So the tongue, right here, it tells us what nutrients. A yellow looking tongue shows you need folic acid. Graphite or fisher tongue may be a need for niacin. What are both of those? What's folic acid and niacin share in common? What vitamin category?
Um,
Folic acid and niacin are in what? A,
B.
B, E, F.
B.
B.
Yeah. B.
They're both B's. Folic acid's vitamin B9, by the way. B9, numeral 9.
Okay.
Just so you know. And I always get niacin and riboflavin messed up as B1, B2, B2, B3. Thiamin's B1. And I still to this day, after 35 years, get niacin and I think riboflavin's B2. I think niacin's B3. And then remember B4. What's vitamin B4? It's the one that was not designated a vitamin because they couldn't synthesize it in a lab.
Right.
It's the fat soluble activator for another B vitamin. B4. It's thiamine, B1's fat soluble protector or wrapper or activator.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to Wikipedia and you type in vitamin B4, you'll see pigeon heart block factor.
Right. Yeah.
Really strange.
Yeah.
Bitter taste is a need for bile salts. What are bile salts made out of? Like, how do you get bile salts for nutrition? Cholesterol.
Mm.
The backbone
Really?
of bile. The backbone of bile is cholesterol. Very few people know that.
So basically, it's a catch-22. Right?
A lot
Isn't
of
it?
paradox with cholesterol. Because it can get made into so many things: CoQ10, cell membranes, bile, testosterone, adrenaline. Are you freaking kidding me? Vitamin D. I mean, this parent molecule, it's pretty important, right?
Mm,
Lack of taste, indication for zinc.
mhm.
2/3 bitter, sour, salty. Would we get everything covered here?
What does that mean when it says a white tongue indicates a small intestine involvement? What does that mean, small intestine? That it's
Instead of large intestine, they're saying a white tongue might be a coating over the small intestine. The large intestine wouldn't be as much of a problem. You'd want to look at, as your clue, you'd want to look at small intestine function.
oh, I see. So the small belongs to the intestine. I thought, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I see what you're seeing too, Isabel, but no, they're trying to say the small versus the large.
Ah, okay.
It's not worded very well there, actually.
Uh-huh.
And then a metallic taste requires iodine. So remember, iodine is a universal heavy metal detoxicant. So when there's a metallic taste in the mouth, so distinguishing between bitter and metallic, because they can taste the same, apparently, if you're not. So like potassium salts are very bitter, but it's also metallic.
Mhm.
Okay, that's tongue. Urine. So this is a Dr. Goodhart, one of my favorite old healers of 100 years ago. So a urine test, you can check for albumin, which is protein, sugar excess, blood in the urine, which would mean leaky cell membranes, pus cells, which is immune problems, indican, I have to look up, that's a large intestine toxicity from bad microbes, bile, which is cholesterol, and CAS. So you can check all that in the urine very easily with the little dipstick stuff. And so Goodhart was championing this over 100 years ago. So we bless this man. Urine is made out of the same thing as what?
Right.
That we eat.
Oh,
That we eat.
Protein via nitrogen. It's a nitrogenous compound, urine is.
Mhm.
So it's made of the same thing that protein's made of. And also comfrey, allantoin, is very similar to urine. And carbamide, carbamide, carbamide used to be used as an artificial form of urea or similar to urine. The AC carbamide product from Standard Process is retinol esters, so vitamin A esters, vitamin C with carbamide. I use the product a bit for when there's cell membrane sensitivity. Use this product to desensitize an allergic person. And it's a water balance product. So if they have, that eye problem where the eyes are big, I forget the name of that one, the eyes get too full of fluid, then you give them carbamide. Kidney problems. So carbamide would be one product you could use nutritionally for water balance and cell membrane issues. Finger and toenails. So I think I set it up so you could, it's a clickbait. Yeah, we'll do the clickbait for a second. And so the clickbait takes us to the fingernail bed analysis. We'll blow that up. So see specific organ support required on the right, what you might see on the left, and then the indications. So he's telling you via the Standard Process stuff, at least like, okay, if you have splitting nails, it means you need better protein, folic acid and B12, vitamin C, stomach acid, enzymes, and RNA is it completes incomplete protein synthesis. So he's telling you right here, So the nails are a great way to assess nutrition status then, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't believe in this right here. This is not, well, that is the pericardium. That's the large intestine. It doesn't agree with what acupuncture has, so I'm not going to go with what Gerald put here. But you also got colors of the nails here and what it means. So see how blue is always associated with oxygen deficiency?
Mhm.
Dark blue, really bad. Copper toxicity. And see, so it's quite a bit here. See all these different. And then I have the a picture of the all the different nails at the bottom here. So you could actually go in there and take a picture of somebody's nails and look at it later and go, which one does it match, right?
Right.
Which one does this match? So the fingernails, yeah, that's, I mean, I just, wow. It kind of went back to normal. Look at that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Correct, there's a small typo in one of the right finger and toenails. Toenails is, and nutrition has 2 eyes. I don't know if you can fix that, but I just want to tell.
Uh-huh. Nutrition of the eye, one of the eyes got moved in the wrong place.
I think I can do it right now. Does it let me? No, it's not gonna let me. I'm in presentation mode. The calcium cuff test, you guys have an experience. Have you guys done the calcium cuff test with me?
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh boy, this is one of the first tests I learned at Standard Process in their nutrition assessment protocols. So you get a blood pressure cuff and you wrap it around the calf, okay, just like you would the arm, and then you pump it up to about 200, which is pretty strong. It's a pretty tight squeeze. And so if the calf goes into cramp before you get to 200, depending on when it goes to cramp, then you have a calcium and or magnesium deficiency.
Ah.
I've done well over a couple hundred of these, and I've only seen a couple of cramps. So it's kind of rare to be that deficient that your calf goes into cramp, but it's a great way to show somebody, if they have any cramping at all, then they'll see like, oh, fuck. A month ago, it was really bad. And now this month, it didn't cramp up, but it's a lot better when the cuff tightens on my calf. So it's an experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
The person getting it. So if they are deficient and it cramps up, then there's a series of keys you can use. And we've talked about this in the past. So see, here's what's involved in calcium metabolism: digestion, hormones, EFAs, sources of calcium, and there's more. So your sources at Standard Process, these are the ones I pointed out earlier. CalMa Plus is parathyroid. So parathyroid increases calcium in the blood. So there's your cofactors digestively, enzymes. CalAmo is apple cider vinegar, FYI, in a tablet. Zypan, stomach acid, hormones. See, fat metabolism. So they're showing you in calcium, you've got to do some checks to see which one of these, and then there's some more. So all this is involved in calcium metabolism. You see how everything is involved?
Mhm.
Linum B6 is flax. There's vitamin F. Black currant seed oil is that's gamma linoleic acid. Sesame seed oil is platelets and immunity. Wheat germ oil is testosterone and estrogen, believe it or not. Super EFF is cell membranes. Cataplex F pearls is the same thing as the tablets, except there's no iodine in it. And wheat germ oil fortified is just a little bit extra tocopherol added. I never use this product because I hate the tocopherols personally. Vitamin D, so that's sunlight. Biox is, again, it's raw phosphorus, another one. Seaweed and alfalfa with more. Raw greens, there's your magnesium. Vitamin E. Vitamin G is riboflavin, so that's B2. They changed the name of the product to Cataplex B2 now. It's so corny. I like G a lot better personally. Any questions on calcium on this one? It's kind of overwhelming. It's a lot. So what the muscle testers do is the muscle testers go in and they'll just muscle test all this. That's what this is a muscle testing chart. And you just check off where they test positive. I don't use it as such. I could, but I've told you guys, I don't appreciate kinesiology as much as others do, even though I do use it. Just really suspicious,
Mm.
really, really suspicious, because I don't trust the oracle called kinesiology. Can't get a repeatable result with different practitioners. And that, to me, when you have a general public, someone on the fence, you don't want to be doing your woo-woo muscle testing. You want to bring out a lab report and show them the science to get them over to our side. Oh, yeah, you tested weak. You can't prove that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Digestion. So the digestive exam. Have you all been through the digestive exam?
Not to my recollection.
I'm going to go off screen share for just a second to show the digestive exam. So the digestive exam sort of involves, there is a points around the belly button. So here's your small intestine around the belly button. There's a light on there. Small intestine around the belly button. So you just lean in there and check a few points. And then pancreas is always on a diagonal from the belly button to the left rib cage. So it's a very painful point, but you can check in there.
Say that again. What is it?
The pancreas, the head of the pancreas is in this diagonal, from here to here, halfway. So you go, there's horizontal, there's vertical, there's 45 degrees, and then there's halfway to the rib cage, and that's the pancreas point. There's charts for this, Monica. It's already made chart. I'm just showing it. So pancreas has certain needs. Then the large intestine, you start over here and you work your way around, check about 4 or 5 points down into the rectum. So you check here, you check here, check here, check here, check here, check here. Then you write down from a scale of 1 to 5 the amount of pain they have. Then there's an enzyme, an HCl point right into the rib cage here in the solar plexus. One side's enzymes, one side's HCl need. So that's obvious. And so you check all this and you get a sense of the inflammation in the gut. And so you can get a good sense of their gas, because you can feel gas bubbles that they may not feel.
Uh-huh.
As the intestines stretch, there's proprio or nerve receptors in there that in some of us, we're really sensitive to the stretched proprioreceptors. So if I get any gas at all, I feel it. But I have people that I poke in there and they say they don't feel anything. There's no pain at all, but I can feel the gas bubbles. So what are they needing? They got gas bubbles. I mean, what's the conversation you're going to have if you examine someone and you feel all that and they're complaining about it? What's the conversation you're going to have? Is gas normal, first of all?
No,
No.
that's
Never
Never.
is gas normal. People try to normalize it. I did. I was called, when I was 18 years old, the gaseous entity by my friends.
Yeah.
The gaseous entity. It was quite funny.
There you go. Wow.
But why? Why? Let's go down the reasons. This is really important shit.
Poor digestion, not enough stomach acid.
Very good.
Too
Low
many
stomach
carbohydrates.
acid. Why don't we just
carbohydrates.
generalize and say low level of secretions, low enzyme secretion, low acid secretion, low bile secretion, low secretions. Just a general. Okay, great.
Also probably not chewing enough or eating too hastily. So there's a lot of air going into with the food.
Very good. So not chewing slow enough is another great reason. What's next?
Is it like, would too many carbs be a part of that, or improper
Excess-
food combinations?
Yes, excess eating of any of the 3 nutrients, too much fat, protein, or carbs will cause gas. Why?
Oh.
Because it sits there too long.
Because you want enzymatic digestion, and fermentation is not what we want in our gut. So fermentation generates acid and inflammatory byproducts, which is gas.
So it's probably also eating too late, right? Or eating like eating fruit at the end of the meal, because the fruit just sits on top of the proteins.
Yeah, it causes fermentation a bit. So Right. So there's a whole thing with food combining then.
Yeah, I was about to say the improper food combining.
So the way it works for like the carb type who generally aren't hungry, so that's the other piece. I just had a conversation with somebody about this over the weekend, was if you aren't making digestive secretions, this was the point I made to the audience with the vitamin D talk at the WAPF, was think about it. If you are stressed out and you're in sympathetic nerve dominance, what are you telling your body to do when you're in fight or flight?
Protect yourself.
But what are we where are we telling the resources of the body to go?
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
internal.
The muscles to run.
Yeah, into the muscles and
Muscles.
away from the digestion.
So
Sets up
Yeah.
the,
when we're in
Running from the
chronic, when we're in chronic fight or flight, we don't make secretions. Why? Because that's not the definition of the sympathetic nervous system. It's to get resources into the muscles to run from the saber-toothed tiger that doesn't exist. You see? So that's the chooser part, isn't it? Because stress is perceptive. Stress is part of life. Get over it. You know, it's just tension, polarity is part of the 3D world. So how we manage our stress is what I'm interested in when I hear that. And we're back to the nervous system again. Phosphorus, minerals, B vitamins, aren't we? You guys following?
Yeah.
Say that
So-
last part again.
Phosphorus, minerals, B vitamins. As a matter of fact, Cataplex G as in God, the standard process product, is what we use with extra zinc to rebuild stomach acid. Cataplex G as in God and zinc is one of their protocols for rebuilding stomach acid. It worked for me. Like I go on and off of their stomach acid product, Zypon. I go off to see how long I can go without adding in the Zypan, because I was an overeater and that was my chooser problem. Why did I overeat? Trauma, armor. And so I blew out my digestive system. By age 42, I'm not going to kid you guys. I felt like I was dying because I couldn't digest. And my male hormones shut down. I had early menopause. I was breaking up from a relationship, pretty close to wanting to die. And then standard process came in my life. And within 2 years, my voice had changed. So I had never finished my maturity. The morphogens of standard process finally finished maturation for me. Women who takes the breast protomorphogen report their undeveloped breasts get bigger. My
Right.
penis grew an inch. I'm not bragging. It just grew an inch naturally. Because of the development process, I didn't get the nutrients in as a teenager to finish my development. Was what I found out. Like, oh my God. Right. Because I wasn't breastfed. There was a lot of reasons why my development was sort of stalled. And a lot of us have similar ones. You know, we have toxicity from injections of whatever sort, because a lot of us were injected with bullshit.
This just a quick question. This might be a digression, but they say when you extend your arms out all the way, that's supposed to be how tall you're supposed to be. Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah, it's like the Leonardo da Vinci thing where the
Right.
arms are straight
Yeah,
out.
the way you have your arms, Monica. Yeah, the way you first had them. Yeah,
like this?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
like
this.
that. No, like that. Yeah,
Straight out. Yeah,
straight out.
straight out to the sides, because you don't have your Zoom group on, maybe, Craig, but yeah, I don't know that. I've never heard that piece. I'm fascinated. Where do you think you heard that piece? That's how tall you're supposed to be?
Oh God, it was somewhere a while ago, and I used to want to play basketball, so I thought basically based on that I'm supposed to be 6'6", I believe. So, but don't quote me on that. But I heard it somewhere.
I'm going to intervene just because we're at the kind of
Yeah.
getting towards to the end here. And that's a lack of, again, we were talking about the raw calcium or raw phosphorus. You missed at the beginning, Dean. So there's growth factors in raw that we don't necessarily get in cooked, especially with these building elements like protein and calcium and whatnot.
Okay.
You go back to the PowerPoint. Everything's relevant. I think that so those digestion points then, the small intestine and the intestines in general need what two elements based on the colitis book? You guys remember that? there's 2 nutrient that you have to rebuild the tennis court, because your intestines, if spread out, will cover a tennis court, and it has to be renewed every 3 to 7 days. That's a lot of cell turnover. So what do you need to turn over cells when you're making new tissue down there? Vitamin C and protein.
Yeah.
Hmm.
With bone broth.
Is it again
qualify?
because you
Vitamin
Yeah.
C and protein are the 2 nutrient categories you need to rebuild your intestines. Vitamin C and protein. That's from Philip Norman, a book on colitis, 1950. That's one of his premises. I've got 2 new colitis cases, so I was able to review the book a little bit and was like, there it is.
Wow.
1950. The guy's writing about this shit 72 years ago, and no one paid attention.
Well, no, rather they paid attention, made sure that it went away. They
It
paid
was
really
suppressed. Yeah, like Wiley's work was, Harvey Wiley's work was suppressed.
right.
All right, we're going to move on. Daytime temperature. Your temperature log is a good one. So what does your temperature log tell you about? What nutrient and organ? Pop quiz.
And I think it's about hormones,
The
It's a
thyroid?
thyroid check.
thyroid check.
That's the main nutrient of the thyroid is iodine.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have low body temperature and you're very sensitive to any temperature change, you are iodine deficient.
Oh yeah.
So I had a woman in here the other day. She was warm as all shit. I went to massage her and she's complaining about how cold she is. And I'm like, well, you're not cold. You're burning hot. Your armor on the outside isn't developed because you don't have enough iodine in your body.
Hmm.
That's thyroid. And in Chinese medicine, it's the TW, triple warmer meridian, sometimes designated as SJ, which is San, S-A-N, Jiao. Jiao is J-I-A-O. San Jiao is triple warmer, but you'll see an SJ on some acupuncture charts. So that's triple warmer means energy distributed in the 3 burning spaces, the upper burner above the diaphragm, the middle burner of the organs around the diaphragm, and the lower burner or the organs below the diaphragm. Really important shit. And here's the log. So this chart goes with it. So you can make it easier on yourself. You can just go click, 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 right? And see, there's your day. And you can even throw in your pulse, which is very helpful. I've never done this, but the women who are doing birth control do this though, don't they?
Yeah.
So what happens when you're fertile then? What happens to the temperature? When you're fertile and to avoid sex, what does the temperature do?
Higher, I would imagine.
Right. It spikes because there's a surge of testosterone at ovulation, believe it or not.
Mhm.
It makes the woman more aggressive to go get a penis.
Hmm.
In the primal days, not in today's world. The women don't go running around looking for penises generally. I would like that, but
Was waiting for that.
Yeah, there you go.
We knew that was coming,
see,
so to speak.
my healthy desire.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. Now, the question is, what nutritional elements help with healthy desires, right?
Hmm.
So what do you think that goes back to? We talked about it at the beginning of our talk today. Clarity, discernment.
Mhm.
So my point, the main takeaway from this healthy desires talk is the main problem with desires is when they come into conflict and you have too many desires. Conflicting desires is the problem for me. I have too many to begin with, and then well, not too many, I just have a lot of passion. And then if you say yes to too many things, what happens to your life?
Overwhelm.
Overwhelm.
Mhm.
Very good. And then overwhelm leads to stress, which means you can't digest, and then you're in the toxic stress cycle.
Yep.
Very good. Oh, the Jensen quote. I feel that people are not regarding poor health as much as they should. They place their health problems secondary to all their other problems. Financial, domestic, real, and invented. But without health, there is little that we can truly enjoy. That's why I do what I do. I want to enjoy my life. I don't care if I live to be 100. I'd rather live 5 more quality years than 50 shitty quality years. Wouldn't you guys?
Oh, for sure. The only reason to live longer is if you can make it healthy
Right.
and share your wisdom.
Mhm.
Okay, next. I don't know what just happened there. Oh, the healthy desire came up. We're not supposed to go there. This is very strange. There we go. So there's the system survey form. The metabolic typing form is another way to assess nutrient status. How does the metabolic typing form help us assess nutrient status? Whether they're protein, mixed, or carb type.
Well, number one, it just gives you a basis for looking at what's going on if you're deficient in something. Once you know what your metabolic typing is, you can better analyze what's going on.
So the protein types obviously need nucleic acid rich proteins, P-U-R-I-N-E, purine dark meat proteins is specific for the protein type. Then you go to the other side of the teeter-totter, which is the carb type. They need amino acid rich white meat. So light meat and dark meat, technically in the animal, is different meat.
Mm.
Meat is rich in nucleic acids or purines. The white meat is rich in amino acids. Same building blocks, just arranged differently. So that tells you right there. And then the amount of carbohydrate, right, for the carb type will be much higher than the protein type. And then in the carb type, the fat will be less and the protein type will be more. So right there, the metabolic type tells you where we should be guiding them, right?
Mhm.
It's their journey. We don't know. They don't know until they see. Like I didn't know I had a problem with avocados, zucchinis, melons, squashes, lentils, bananas, and coconut until I left them out and added them back and got sick as a dog. And it's like, that sucks. I love lentil dal.
Mm.
That sucks. I love cucumbers. That sucks. I love coconut. That sucks. I love avocado. But I'm at the point now where my health is so good I can tolerate them when I want to have them once in a while. But do we want to go through life tolerating food?
Mm.
Mm-mm.
We want to be thriving with our food.
Yep.
Mhm.
Blood and lab work is another way to assess nutrient status, obviously. It's not as direct as you might think, though. Like if you see low sodium in the blood, it doesn't mean to add salt into the diet per se. If you have low potassium in the blood, it doesn't mean to add a bunch of potassium necessarily. That's what we're working out here in this class. So this is what I send to my clients. You guys can get access to this. It's in the paperwork in the business folder. But this is what, if a new client comes in and they're sort of curious, like someone like Marie Isabel, Marie would get this. This is why we're doing what we're doing, because some people, they got to know. They get all anxious. If they don't know exactly what you're doing, they're not going to come along. So this is a great way to describe the system survey. I think there's a second page. Yeah.
Okay. Folks, I gotta go. I need to drive to Washington, D.C.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Is it 10:30?
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, let's bookmark that and stop the recording then.
Be very, very aware, Isabel.
Safe travels.
Washington, D.C.